Hello and welcome back to English.com, your go-to podcast for fascinating topics and insightful conversations. I'm your host, Liv Morgan, and today we're diving into one of the greatest engineering marvels of modern science, the James Webb Space Telescope. You may have heard about this incredible piece of technology launched on December 25, 2021. But what makes it so special? We already have the Hubble telescope, right? Well, today, we're going to explore what sets the James Webb apart and why it's truly a game changer in space exploration. So buckle up, and let's journey into the stars.
December the 25th, 2021, the James Webb Space Telescope was launched.
Yes. So for this week's podcast on English.com, we're talking about an amazing feat of engineering.
So what's so special about this telescope? We already have Hubble.
The James Webb Telescope is simply much more powerful. It can study objects that are much older, fainter, and more distant than ones that we can see with the Hubble.
Okay, so you're saying it's much bigger too, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Now, Richard, I've seen photos of it, right? And it looks like a giant honeycomb rather than a telescope. What am I looking at?
Well, for a big telescope, you need a big mirror. And you can't put a big mirror in a spaceship. So it has to be lots of small mirrors which are constructed in space. And they've made it out of 18 hexagonal segments.
So, okay, 18 hexagonal segments, that's what looks like the honeycomb.
Yes.
And, sorry, when the rocket took off, where were those?
They were all folded together like origami, and then when it's in space, it was unfurled to reveal the telescope.
So it unfolded in space?
Yes.
Wow. It has this amazing golden colour, though.
Yes, and it is gold, because gold is the best thing to reflect infrared radiation.
Right, okay.
And it's an infrared telescope. The other problem, of course, if it's an infrared telescope, it has to be very, very, very cold.
Okay, what do you mean by very cold?
Minus 223 degrees centigrade.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, right, but it's out there in space. Now, it is cold in space.
It is, but it still needs to be protected from the sun, which is obviously very light and it radiates a lot of heat. So it has a big sun shield.
So you're telling me it has this huge mirror and it's got a sun shield over the whole thing?
Pointing to the sun is the shield, yes. And the telescope itself points out into space. This was all unfurled in space, like the mirror.
How did they test this?
Well, that's very interesting as well, because NASA had a huge room, if you like, which was a partial vacuum. Because obviously, as you know, space is an almost vacuum. So that's where they tested it.
Now, we've only been talking about a small part, really, of the telescope. I mean, it's got all this amazing machinery and equipment on it and everything. This must have cost a bomb.
Well, they first thought about it in 1997. They thought it was going to cost $500 million. And now, $10 billion over the course of its life.
How long is it expected to be out there for?
Well, they're planning 10 years, but they're hoping it'll be there for at least 20.
My goodness. Well, I hope so too, considering how much it cost.
Well, it's up there now. And it seems to be going well so far.
So far. Fingers crossed.
Let's take a moment to break down a couple of phrases and expressions from today's conversation.
A feat of engineering, this means an incredible achievement in design or construction. Example, building the tallest skyscraper in the world was a feat of engineering. Cost a bomb, this informal phrase means something is extremely expensive. Example, that luxury car cost a bomb, but it's worth every penny. Fingers crossed, this is an expression of hope that something will happen successfully. Example, the team is launching the satellite tomorrow, fingers crossed it goes smoothly.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the English Daily Podcast.
Get